Welcome to the fourth part of close passage test. In our previous videos, we came across how to handle a close passage and win over it successfully. We understood the difference between a close passage and fill in the blanks. Both of them have blanks in it. It needs to be filled in with an appropriate word given to us as choices for each blank. However, in a close passage, understanding the context, the theme, the tone of the passage is very important because it is a paragraph given to us and one blank is always interconnected to the other blank. Whereas in a fill in the blank question, the concept is not of much importance here. It is dealt individually. The attention is paid only to the blank given in a particular sentence. We saw that the content given to us in any close passage will have something called a context and a tone. A context is something that talks about or that tells us what kind of a paragraph it is. There are financial, technical and environmental contexts in paragraphs. Whereas on the other hand, when we talk about tones, we have critical, analytical and descriptive tones in a passage. When we talk about financial context of a passage, it is a passage that deals with the usage or talks about some economical related things. It could be on GST or certain tax reforms and so on. When we talk about technological, it will be some kind of technology that we see in our life, how it is helping us or how it is made us redundant in our jobs. Okay, it could be about chat box and so on. Environmental context passages are those that talks about environment around us. It could be some natural disaster. It could be talking about animals in the wild. It could be about calamities like cyclones and so on. These are the few contexts in which we can expect paragraphs to be seen. The tone of the passage. The tone will be critical, analytical or descriptive. Critical tone passages are those where author is writing critically. There may be judgmental sentences. There may be sentences which are not expressed that the author is very happy about the particular topic. Analytical topics are those where you come across passages where the author is analyzing between two concepts. Descriptive, on the other hand, gives us more description or information about the topic. Now, to approach these different close passages, we have few unique ways of approaching them. The very first approach will be to read the passage. You need to read the passage to understand the context of the passage. Once you understand the context, you can analyze and come up with words from the vocabulary that best fits the kind of the passage that you are reading. You can look out for words, signal words that help us in analyzing our answers better. We discussed about support signal words and contradictory signal words. Support signal words are those that tells us that the author is talking about similarities between two things in the paragraph, or it tells us that the author will continue to talk about the same thing in the sentences to come. Few support signal words are and, so, in addition to, similarly and so on. Contradictory signal words, on the other hand, are those that tells us that author is talking about inconsistencies between two elements in the paragraph. He may use contradictory words also to show us the opposite of the topic. He may use words to tell us how they are different from one another. You can also look out for words that gives us contradictory meaning, where the author has changed the tone or he is talking about a different topic in the passage. Then we go on to eliminate the options. Now, once you have done these approaches, you have read the paragraph, you have analyzed the paragraph and arrived at certain vocabulary in your mind. You looked out for support signal words and contradictory signal words. It becomes easy for you to eliminate those words that don't fit the concept, the tone, or the sub-signal words that is used in the passage. Finally, we ask you to take the contextual meaning of the words given to us in the brackets. One of the challenges faced by students when they take up closed passage is that the options given to us is usually a vocabulary that is on the higher order. People find it a challenge to understand the choices given to us. So what we suggest is to read through the sentence, the paragraph, and arrive at answers on your own, and then choose words from the choice given to you that is most appropriate or most synonym to the word that you have on your mind. This way, you will be able to take words more contextually and fill the blank. We also went through few examples in our videos. Here, we continue with the next example. Kindly pause the video, go through the paragraph, arrive at answers on your own to check if they are right or incorrect. The answers for the paragraph is as such. Hawthorne had not dashed the sudden dismissal expected. Okay, right? So here you need to use a word, a verb in the past form, because the paragraph begins with Hawthorne had. Had is a word that talks about past. Okay, so Hawthorne had not expected this sudden dismissal. He thought that they would scold him as usual. Okay, now options also tell us that this has to be a helping verb. Okay, but it needs to be in the past form, because in the first sentence we already understood the paragraph is beginning with the past tone. Okay, so here answer is had. He had thought he would scold him as usual. Now he had no job. When you look at the third set of choice words given to us, we understand that it must be a conjunction. Okay, so all the words that is given to us as choices is a conjunction. Okay, you can go through our video on conjunctions for more information on it. When you go through these words, conjunction words, you will understand that but is the word that fits best there. It is giving us a contradictory idea. Whereas on the other hand, and, because, since, they are all supporting idea words. Okay, but here, but is the only word that is giving us a contradictory signal, right? A contradictory signal word is a word that tells us that the author is talking about inconsistencies or opposites of each other, right? So in the first blank, we understood he didn't expect sudden dismissal. Dismissal is being sent away. Okay, so here we are talking about Hawthorne being sent away from work. Okay, he's been taken off from work, fired at his job, right? So when you look at the second sentence, he had thought they would scold him as usual, right? So that gives us an understanding of what would have happened had Hawthorne still been working. Had he still had a job, what would have happened? They would have scolded him. But what did they do? They dismissed him. They threw him out of the job. So that's why it is giving us a contradictory idea. Ideas that are opposite in nature to each other. As such, we use but as our answer in the third blank. The fourth blank. What dash he tell Sophia? The answer is, what will he tell Sophia? Okay, this is a thought that is running through his mind, a thought that is yet to happen, an action expected to happen in future. Okay, so it is, what will he tell Sophia? Sophia dash Hawthorne's wife. Sophia is Hawthorne's wife. Okay, now a lot of people here expect the answer for the fifth blank also to be in the past. The thought is that the paragraph began with a past note, so the paragraph must continue in the past note. Not necessarily. We need to focus on sentences. We need to focus on how one sentence and the other is connected to each other. Right? Now, when we used what will he tell Sophia, the fourth blank, we already moved to the future tense. Okay? So, the thought that many people have that you need to maintain past form or present form or future form only throughout the paragraph is not always possible. Right? So, the answer for the fifth blank is. The reason is because is a simple present tense helping verb. Right? Is a helping verb. It is often used in simple present tense. Simple present tense is something that we use to talk about universal truth. When you tell your name, you always say, my name is XYZ. You can refer our videos on tenses for more information. Here we use is because Sophia being Hawthorne's wife is a universal truth. As such, we use is. We move on. He had not told her dash about his troubles. Anything. Okay. Now, another commonly made mistake by people at this junction is choosing the word nothing. He had not told her nothing about his troubles is incorrect. We don't choose or we don't use two negatives in a sentence. Right? So, we don't choose nothing. Nothing will be a wrong choice. Okay? Anything. So, he had not told her anything about his troubles at the office. At is a preposition. At is a preposition we use to talk about something in particular, especially for places we work, we study, we are. Okay, so here at is the appropriate preposition to be used. The eighth blank. How was he going to support her dash himself from now on? When you look at the options, you understand that it must be a conjunction. It is something that we are talking about two things and we need to connect them. Right? So here we are using and. So how was he going to support her and himself from now on? And is a conjunction we use to add information. And as such, we have used and as the answer for blank 8. Blank 9. He walked home slowly. When his wife saw him. When is the most appropriate word to be used for blank 9? When his wife saw him, he looked miserable. Okay. Miserable here is used as an adverb. Okay. So, you need to choose a word for blank 10 that is a verb. All the options given to us is a verb. Pretended, behaved, looked, showed. However, looked makes more sense because when the wife sees him, how does he look? Miserable. Right? So, looked makes more sense here to be the answer. Let's take another example. This is an environmental passage. Pause your video to go through the question, arrive at answers of your own to check their accuracy. The answers for this paragraph is as such here. This is talking about the Bhopal gas tragedy that happened in our country. Right? So, more than 7,000 people died within a matter of days when toxic gas leaked dash a chemical plant in Bhopal, India. Okay, so in, at, of, by are the options given to us. Okay, the most appropriate one will be in, right? You have to choose a preposition for the blank one. Okay, we are talking about gas leak in a chemical plant. Okay, so we are talking about the place in which it happened. So the preposition must be in. The leak began at night and dashed for several hours unnoticed. Okay, so here we need to use a word for blank 2 that talks about the action happening unchecked for quite some time. Okay, so here the appropriate word will be continued. Okay, the key word here or the clue that you can look out for to decide continued is the answer is several hours unnoticed. That means the work or the leak was happening, that action was going on for some time before people got to know about it. Okay, so the best word that gives us that idea is continued. Blank 3. Since then, dash to the toxins created by the leak has resulted in innumerable deaths. Okay, so exposure will be the answer for blank 3. Right? So here you have to talk about a word that tells us what happened to people, right, and why they died. So exposure to toxins led to innumerable deaths. Blank 4. Many more are sick and dash to live normal lives. Okay, so the answer will be struggling. Okay, so a commonly made mistake is people either choose fighting or learning. Both of them actually don't make sense here. Okay, struggling is the most appropriate answer. Despite trying to get dash for the disaster, the people have seen no real attempt to compensate them. Here, the clue word or the link word that you need to look out for is the signal word despite. Despite is a contradictory signal word. Okay, so you need to look for a choice given to us as an answer which is contradictory to the part of the sentence, the second clause. Okay, so the second clause or second part of the sentence, when we say, there will be a comma in between. A comma is used when a part of information is given. Okay, so one part of information in this sentence is despite trying to get dash for the disaster. The second part of the information in the sentence is the people have seen no real attempt to compensate them. The answer for number 5, fifth blank, is compensation. The company involved, UCC, has publicly dashed all responsibility for the leak. Okay, right? Denied will be the answer. Has publicly denied. Okay, now one of the mistakes people might do is refuse. Okay, though deny, refuse, people have a similar idea in their mind. There is some difference between the two, and that difference is what needs to be considered here to choose deny as the answer. Blank 7. No one till date has been held dash responsible. Right? Okay, you can also, if there was a choice, accountable, you could have also chosen that as an answer. Right? It should be a word that end with LE, right? Responsible, accountable. Okay. Now the other words end with a different ending word like accounting, trustworthy, guilty. Okay. That won't be a right answer there. Was it the dash of the machinery or simply human error? Okay. So its answer will be failure. Okay, stopping, insolvency, closure, all of them actually don't make sense. Okay, insolvency, closure is a very different one. Stopping and failure can be considered as synonyms of each other. However, failure makes more sense and add to the blank there. Many questions remain unanswered. That will be the 9th blank. The investigation has been dealt with in a very dash manner. Okay, answer is Cloze. The reason why we have chosen is one of the commonly used meaning of the word callous is the when somebody works very hard using their hands, right? There is a kind of a rupture on the skin and there is a thick skin formed on the palms of a hand. Okay, we also call them callous, right? But on the other hand, there is also another meaning for the word callous, that is where we don't care about others. Okay, so that is the meaning that we have used here in blank 10, right? So the investigation has been dealt with in a very dash manner, callous manner. We'll look at another example. This is a technological paragraph. Pause your video, go through the paragraph, arrive at answers of your own and then check for their correctness. Answers are as such. Scientists have developed an electronic circuit that dash the wiring of the human brain. Mimic. Okay. Imitates, limits, expands. Now here, eliminating, if you have to eliminate answers, you will be eliminating limit and expand. Okay. Imitate and mimic, they are very close to each other, right? But if you have read through the paragraph, you will understand that mimic is the best choice there. Okay. So mimics the wiring of the human brain, in some ways an achievement that dash revolutionized computer science. That could, right? Could is a modal verb. It is talking about a possibility, a future possibility, right? All the options given to us are modal verbs. Shall, ought and have, they also are modal verbs. The best choice will be could here. You can refer our videos on modal verbs for further information. Okay, computer science and dash the understanding of how nature's most dash works. Okay, right? Improve the understanding of how nature's most powerful electronic system works. Right? Okay, exceed, impair, develop, cannot be. Okay, so develop and improve, they are synonyms of each other. However, though they are synonyms, they have their own distinct usage. Okay, so improve is the appropriate word for blank 3 and blank 4 electronic system, right? So processor, circuit, brain, electronic system makes the best word there. Blank 5. The dash built on a dash chip, the size of a fingernail. Okay. The circuit built on a silicon chip. Okay. The size of a fingernail. Right. So silicon chip. Now, there are people who probably will choose option 2 as an answer for blank 6, minute. Right. Now, minute is not necessary because it's already telling us how small the chip is. Okay, so we choose the material in which the chip is made. Silicon chip, the size of a fingernail is dash. Blank 7 is far from the thinking machines of science fiction. For one thing, it cannot. Blank 8, learn the way the brain can. Okay, now here we choose learn for blank 8 is because we are talking about how better or how good human brain is, and now computer science scientists have come up with some circuit that kind of mimics the brains, right? Though it mimics the brains, there are certain limitations. Okay, so that limitations is what we are talking about in the last 2-3 sentences. Okay, so it says for one thing it cannot learn the way brain can. Okay, so we are giving a another thought or a contradictory thought to what was told to us in the first 3 sentences. Finally, the 10th one, but researchers say it could result in better speech and object recognition by computers. Once you have gone through all these videos and examples, your learning outcomes will be that you will be able to differentiate between a cloze test and fill in the blanks. You should be able to solve cloze passage questions easily and quickly. You should be able to identify the context and tone of a cloze paragraph. You should be able to apply the 5 approaches that we discussed to solve a cloze test.